The Acolyte will introduce many Star Wars fans to the High Republic era for the first time. Set 100 years before the events of the Phantom Menace, the Acolyte is set at the tail end of the golden era of the Jedi Order, where the galaxy was vastly different from what we've been shown during the prequels. The High Republic is the newest Star Wars era that we've been diving into since Light of the Jedi was released in January of 2021. If you haven't read any of the High Republic novels but are curious about what this era corresponds to prior to the show's premiere, then let's catch you up. Within the past 2 years, the High Republic has given us many great stories filled with fantastic characters you will love, hate, and enjoy. From novels like Light of the Jedi, Cataclysm, and Path of the Deceit, to comics such as There Is No Fear, Heart of Drengir, and Jedi's End, to animation with Young Jedi Adventures. While the films have yet to show audiences this incredible moment in Star Wars history, Lucasfilm's next project, The Acolyte, will finally take us to this pivotal moment in Star Wars history. Here's everything you need to know about the High Republic era. The upcoming Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, will show us the end of the High Republic and usher in the next era in the Star Wars timeline. The official synopsis of the show is as follows. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. While The Acolyte will show us the end of the High Republic era, this period is one of the richest in all of Star Wars lore. Star Wars has always been big on their timeline, which is good. It helps keep things organized. While the film and television entries in the Star Wars universe have stayed within the Skywalker saga, the novels have expanded the world while keeping the story consistent with few timeline errors. It also helps that the High Republic storylines take place hundreds of years before the prequels, meaning the writers don't have to worry about anything that has to do with any of their story arcs that we haven't gotten so far. The age of the High Republic is broken up into phases. Phase 1, also known as the Light of the Jedi, is the closest to the prequel trilogy, with Out of the Shadows placed at 231 BBY and set in the same year as The Rising Storm, The Fallen Star, and Midnight Horizon. Then we have Light of the Jedi, a year after Out of the Shadows and The Rising Storm, making it 232 BBY, along with Into the Dark. Phase 2 is more of a prequel to the High Republic story. Phase 2, also known as Quest of the Jedi, is 100 years before Light of the Jedi. The novels in Phase 2 are in the year 382 BBY, such as Path of Deceit, Convergence, The Battle of Jedha, Cataclysm, and Path of Vengeance. Phase 3, Trails of the Jedi, recently began in November, starting with The Eye of Darkness. The Eye of Darkness takes place 1 year after the events of the Fallen Star. In the events of the Fallen Star, our heroes experience the destruction of the Starlight Beacon by the Nihil. Not only that, but more Force-eating levelers have been appearing. Let's take a step back and talk about some of the critical events that have been happening during the High Republic. The construction of Starlight Beacon was the most crucial project for the Jedi Order of its time, thanks to Supreme Chancellor Lina Soh. It was her idea to create the Starlight Beacon. It was also the most expensive project due to its size, not just the functionality of the station. It acted as a beacon to guide travelers. It also boosted communication signals in the Outer Rim. The Starlight worked as a hospital, research station, observatory, and cultural center. The Starlight was not just for the Jedi but for all people, to give hope to the galaxy. The Great Hyperspace Disaster happened during the construction of Starlight, and the disaster showed a great amount of weakness that the Republic had before Starlight, like not having a strong enough signal to send out help, or Jedi and other warriors were close enough to help during the disaster. The Hyperspace Disaster happened because the Legacy Run was destroyed in hyperspace, due to an object in the same path lanes. The Hyperspace Disaster also teases us about a hidden threat, that we will later know as the Nihil. The battle for No Space was between the Jedi and the Nihil for the Great Hall of No Space, home of the Nihil. The Jedi winning this battle crippled the Nihil for a little while with the capture of Lorna Dee, who was a Tempest Runner. For those who don't know what a Tempest Runner is, these are the leaders of their specific group in the organization, and there are only 3 Tempest Runners, so they are essential. Thanks to Jedi Master Avar Kriss, Jedi Knight Gonri Mashi, Jedi Knight Keeve Trennis, Jedi Master Skier, Jedi Knight Norin, and Jedi Knight Orbalon. The destruction of Starlight Beacon was the biggest revelation for the Jedi at the end of Phase 1, especially after their massive success in the Battle of No Space. To achieve the destruction of Starlight Beacon, Marchion Ro sent Kale, Lan, Werari, and many nameless creatures to cut the Jedi from the Force. For those who aren't aware of the Nameless, they are also known as the Shri Ka-Re, Eaters of the Force. They were released by the Path of the Open Hand to destroy all Force users. Back then, the creatures were known as the Levelers. They had pale white skin with red eyes, and their homeworld was Planet X. The Levelers had numerous effects on Force sensitives, such as hallucinations, losing the connection to their Force, and sometimes even death. Avar Kriss was one of the most important characters during the High Republic era, so much so that all of the Masters respected her, including Yoda. Avar Kriss was the character that connected all the Jedi to help prevent further destruction during the Great Hyperspace Disaster, and many other crises like the Drengir Crisis and the Nihil Conflict. Bel Zettifar is a human male who Loden Greatstorm trained. Bel is mainly known for having a hound named Ember by his side. Bel was known to be one of the most talented Jedi of his grade. He has also been in many significant battles, like the Great Disaster and the destruction of Starlight Beacon. Many more characters in the High Republic era have gained popularity over the past few years, which will not only garner more shows like The Acolyte, but will eventually hit the silver screen. There is so much more lore and beautiful character writing within this era, Lucasfilm would lose out on adding more fans to the genre and more than likely bring back lost Star Wars fans. That is how good the writing is in these stories right now. How excited are you for The Acolyte? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like the video and subscribe for more coverage as we approach its premiere. And remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.